I want to spend some time on this. At least in that I need to really engage this because there is a lot of stress going on in the Red Wings fandom. And a lot of it makes sense. A lot of it is based upon the team itself. The team has not been performing to the standard that they should be. Right now, they're tied with the Capitals in points, although the Capitals have a couple of games in hand. So, they are currently outside of the wild card. And over this past week, I believe it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday night. They get absolutely slaughtered to the Carolina Hurricanes. And I decided I needed to gauge where Red Wings fans were. So I never do this. And I probably won't do this again, at least not for a very long time. But I decided I was going to post on the r/Detroit Red Wings, the Detroit Red Wings subreddit. Because I figured, these are the fans. They speak for where we're at on the team. So I figured, all right, let's see where I'm at. Because I'll expose myself a little bit because I'm sure maybe if you catch this video, if you're in the Red Wings subreddit, you'll probably have seen this post. Patience is running thin. So I want to just set this all up and sort of summarize what I was saying. So first of all, I want to start here. I do not hate Steve Yzerman. I don't believe he should be fired. Under no circumstances should we be firing Steve Yzerman. Okay? Okay. We're good. With that out of the way. Or you know what? Even further. I'll even further. I love a lot of his signings, frankly. I think most of his signings have worked out. I know some people have been down on some of his signings. I think most of his signings have been good. Goss to spare. Obviously, Patrick Kane. You bring in JT Compher, who is a really good player. You bring back, you extend Michael Rasmussen, who I think is a solid contributor. You extend Dylan Larkin, who has continued to be not just the captain, but also just probably one of our more productive players. I like a lot of his drafting. Our prospect pool is consistently, depending on you can look at any publication, it's consistently ranked somewhere in the top 10. And we have a couple of guys, actually 3 guys right now, that have come up and at least looked and played pretty good. In Mo Seider, obviously won the Calder Trophy. Lucas Raymond looks like a star in the making. Simon Edvinsson, still waiting a little bit for him, but he's played pretty competently at the professional level. He's kind of had in and out roles at the NHL level. He hasn't really had the consistent staying power. But on top of them, you also have guys like Marco Kasper. You got Trey Augustine out of Michigan State. You have Redmond Savage. You have Carter Mazer. You have Nate Danielson and Simon Pellica. And I can't think of his. I'm not gonna say his full. Simon Pellica. You know who he is if you know who he is. You have guys, right? There's a reason that this prospect pool is ranked so high, and you have the Grand Rapids Giffards, your AHL affiliate, playing really well, which bodes well for the future of your team, right? Your minor league team's playing pretty well, one of the top teams. It means you probably have a lot of guys that are going to be NHL ready, at least in the next few years. So all of that said, I think in general, we've done a good job. He's done a good job. Steve Yzerman has done a good job. Every year since he's gotten here, the team has gotten better. Okay. I feel like I've given Steve. I feel like I've given Steve Yzerman enough credit, right? I think I've showed my hand. All right. With all of this happening, I am tired of seeing patience and trusting the Yzerplan. I'm tired of it. Okay. I get it. Okay. He's done all these good things. I understand. I've run down all of the things that I like that he's done, and it's more things that I don't like. But the team that he has constructed, his team, right, has gone from 8 points into the wild card to probably not making the playoffs, right? They do not control their own destiny at this stage. And the coach that he hired, right? I don't know. People must have some sort of memory loss on this. The coach that he hired is currently on the hot seat after just 2 years. Funny how that works. He can stick around for another 5 years, but the coach that he brought in to coach the team that he built, we got to get rid of him because it couldn't possibly be the roster construction. And again, 5 years of drafting, 5 years of offseason, and we have 3 guys that he has drafted, all of which, by the way, are first-round picks. All of which also are not just first-round picks, but first picks in the first round. And not to mention, of course, the fact that mid-season, the team is feeling good. We're taking control. We're really taking that step forward. What does he do at the trade deadline? Hold on. I'll tell you. That's what he does. Nothing. He sends off Klim Kostin, a player that he brought in, by the way, for some extra cap. You know what would have been an easier way to save cap? Just don't sign Klim Kostin. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too extreme for some people. But all this is to be said. The other thing that I hear a lot is, well, he inherited the worst situation. He inherited a terrible situation. Man, it's been 5 years. I don't want to hear about Holland, okay? Kenny Holland, for all the warts, okay? He did win us 4 Stanley Cups, right? He built those teams, or he helped build those teams, right? What has Steve Yzerman as a GM done for us? I'll tell you. Hold on. Here it is. That's what he's done for us as a GM. Let's run down the list of things that a good GM you would want them to have achieved, right? Let's see. Has he won a Stanley Cup? No. Has he gotten a team to make the Stanley Cup? No. Has he gotten a team to make the Eastern Conference Finals? No. Has he gotten a team to make the playoffs? No. Has he gotten a team to have a winning record? No. Has he drafted a superstar player that everybody covets immediately? No. He hasn't done any of that. And that's not even to say that he hasn't done any good things. It's just that of the big things, there is nothing out of this world to the point where you feel great about where the team is, right? Okay. And further, you can't say that this is all the making of Ken Holland, okay, when he is actively keeping and extending some of the guys that Kenny Holland drafted. Last I checked, Steve Yzerman didn't draft Dylan Larkin. Kenny Holland did. Last I checked, Steve Yzerman didn't draft Michael Rasmussen. Kenny Holland did. And guess what? Steve Yzerman extended both of those guys. And I like those signings, as stated before. And to give me this, he got screwed in the lottery. Well, guess what? How many number 1 overall picks did the Red Wings get to, have their dynasty? Of the 90s and 2010s. I'll give you a hint. It's anywhere between 0 and 0 because that's how many they had. All right? This idea that the only way is to just get the number 1 overall pick every time. This is nonsense, okay? It's just not true. A lot of superstar guys that we had were drafted late in the rounds, all right? It wasn't first overall guys. And by the way, again, just to point out, not a single one of Steve Yzerman's late round picks, no picks that he has taken outside of his first pick in every draft has currently made the team. So, not that they're not going to be good. I'm sure they could be good, but it's just a fact that they aren't here, right? And we're 5 years into this. Continuing on, okay? To say if this team can turn it around and make the playoffs, all right? I'm not going to yell and scream. I'm going to be happy because mission accomplished. That's what you should have been doing. 5 years in, it is a perfectly acceptable thing to not just, have an opinion and say that you think that they can do this, but to say it is a standard, that it is playoffs or bust. that if you don't make the playoffs, it is a disaster. It is a failure. And that failure goes all the way from the bottom team or from the players themselves to the people in charge. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about Kenny Allen. I don't want to hear about Jeff Petrie. I don't want to hear about Derek Lalone, who he hired. His team, he's the boss. Team should be in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs going into the final month of the year, final full month of the year. They were securely in the playoffs, and they fell like a sack of bricks. That is on roster construction. That is on the coach that he brought in. That is on the individual players that he brought in. Like, the thing is, you can say, oh, Jeff Petrie has been sucking. Oh, Andrew Kopp has been sucking. Oh, Derek Lalone has been sucking. Right. Did they just drop out of the air? Were they signed by Ken Holland? I don't know. It seems like, according to a lot of people, maybe they were. Maybe the ghost of Ken Holland, possessed Stevie Y into signing Jeff Petrie. That's probably it. But I post this on Reddit, and lo and behold, some numbskulls, some just single-digit IQ Red Wing fans decided to leave some of the most other than to give them the most charity I can, some of the most naive and simplistic rejections. Like, it is to the point where you are not intellectually mature enough to even posit that maybe the spot that you're in at the watch of your idol, who, by the way, I'm just going to be honest, I don't know that many of you people even watched Steve Yzerman play, let alone, grew up with him. I don't know, maybe it's possible. But it seems to me that even me, someone who, has brief childhood memories of good hockey for the Red Wings, it seems to me that this is a similar problem with that the Pistons fandom has, where you have a lot of young people who genuinely have no idea what it's like to have a good team. And so anytime anybody criticizes them, they just think that you're a hater, that it's Detroit versus everybody, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.